WRC is here and not a moment too soon, in my view. It's been a long 4 years since Codemasters last went out onto the rally stages, and in the meantime, we only had the officially licensed WRC games from Kiloton, which I haven't played personally, but I'm sure the naming here is never going to cause any confusion. Right? Anyway, how does the new game stack up? Let's start with the physics. Now, I'm not a racing driver, so I can't comment much about the realism of the ordeal, but I will try to summarize my observations on how it compares to Dirt Rally 2. Firstly, many cars overall feel more stable, but this also comes with a perceived reduction in the complexity of how the wheels interact with the surface. I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like I've always got a carpet underneath my car that I'm sliding around on. This was the case in Dirt Rally 2, but it feels more pronounced in this game. Landing during jumps causes a lot less disturbance to your stability as well. Furthermore, it feels like it's a lot harder to break traction by applying too much throttle. I tried out the Lancia 037 Evo, which should be one of the hardest cars to drive in the game, but it felt surprisingly manageable and accessible. In Dirt Rally 2, the high-power rear-wheel drive cars were easy to completely lose control of when using too much gas. In WRC, I don't think I ever made a power slide with my right foot. The car was pretty twitchy on turning, and there was some oversteer to be sure, but it was caused when turning or off throttle. In Dirt Rally 2, some cars always felt really weird to me. They were unpredictable and handled in weird ways. The F2 kit car class is among them. But I gotta say, driving one of the newcomers to this group, the Ford Puma Mark VI, was quite enjoyable and accessible. And I think that's the best way to describe the change in physics. Accessible. One last thing I noticed, I found that performing sharp handbrake turns felt a lot easier than in Dirt Rally 2. I don't really know why, but I always struggled with the timing of inputs, the speed at which I should be going, to perform a great and fast handbrake turn in the predecessor. But in this game it felt a lot more intuitive. Oh, that felt really
You
good.
completed that like a pro.
That felt so satisfying, oh my god. The car list is a bit different from Dirt Rally 2. Firstly, Rallycross and all associated cars are gone. I know many people really like this game mode, but I never cared for it, so it doesn't bother me. Furthermore, the entire Rally GT class is removed as well. This is a shame in my opinion, as the Aston Martin was one of my favorite cars to drive in the previous game. They've also removed the Citroën DS21 and Datsun 240Z, two more cars I enjoyed. But there are a lot of newcomers as well, in basically any category. Cars like the Vauxhall Nova, Peugeot 309 or Mitsubishi Galant, among some others. Of course, we also have the new modern licensed WRC cars, like the GR Yaris herself. I'm pretty happy with the car list myself, and I was getting excited to try out the new cars when I was looking through it, though I will miss the ones who are no longer with us. If, like me, you've spent a lot of time playing Dirt Rally 2, you've probably gotten to a point where the stages start feeling a bit stale because you've driven them so many times. So, having an entire new game's worth of tracks and stages should be a breath of fresh air. And I've gotta say, the stage design is really good in this game, at least from what I've played. A lot of the new layouts are pleasantly technical compared to the previous game. There's also a lot of special and cool features that add personality to the game, like chicanes of hay bales, buildings on the side of the road, driving on narrow roads between two walls. There is also a surprising amount of junctions in the roads, which gives the tracks a sense of realism, but they also sometimes make it hard to tell where you're supposed to go. I am pleasantly surprised by how many different locations there are in the game. but the amount of tracks in each location is not all that impressive compared to Dirt Rally 2. In my career mode, I selected the longest option for the event length, and unfortunately, it means that I'm already seeing a lot of repetition within just one event. I mean, just look at this. I don't know how randomized the career mode is, but this event is entirely composed of different types of stages with their reverse counterparts, back to back. I don't know how long this event would be on shorter configurations, but I can't imagine it's much better. The career mode in Dirt Rally 2 was pretty lackluster, in my opinion. There weren't enough meaningful ways to progress in the game beyond just doing rally after rally. In this game, the career is significantly expanded upon, which is a welcome change. You now choose one action to perform every week. These actions involve taking part in events, training your team, and finding new members, visiting auto shows, etc. Though I find it a bit weird that you always have to choose between taking part in rally events and more strategic options. I think that in a rally game, you shouldn't have to miss out on rally events if you want your team to do well. I think an approach closer to F1, where you will always take part in races at specified dates, but you must choose what to do in the time between them, would be better. On the technical side, I'm pretty disappointed. Firstly, I'm not really getting the impression this game looks any better than Dirt Rally 2. But it does run worse, at least on time of recording. These are my PC components, and despite more than meeting the recommended specs for this game, I'm getting significant stutters at least once every stage. It happens in the form of one freeze for about half a second or so, and then it just carries on as normal. But I cannot imagine it's going to be any better on weaker hardware. I'm also disappointed by the wheel settings. I've got a Logitech G920 and the amount of settings to tweak the functioning of my rig is so much smaller than Dirt Rally 2, and it's causing my enjoyment of the game to be lower. One last thing, the default brightness settings look terrible for me. The game becomes obnoxiously bright at times. I don't have HDR turned on, and I'm not seeing a bloom setting to change. I had to lower the gamma and it's bearable now. But on snow stages, it was really hard to see where I was supposed to be going. The new WRC game has some new features and game modes. For example, you can build your own car to use in career or other event types. This is a welcome change, and I appreciate that we get some customization options. But I'm not all that impressed with the implementation. It boils down to picking different mechanical components on a spectrum of cost versus performance, and then visually customizing your car with bodywork and panels that look like they're taken straight from real licensed cars. At the moment, I don't know what these performance indicators even mean, so making the choices feels pointless. There is also a pretty bare bones livery editor, but it's a massive shame that we cannot download user-made liveries. The reason for that, I guess, is that some decals are locked behind the podium pass progression. This absolutely sucks in my opinion, and I think a corporation's greed should never come before functionality of a game they're making. There's also a driving school with a few different short lessons to take on various driving techniques. It's nothing special and pretty short, but it helped me get up to speed after a significant break from Dirt Rally 2. I had one weird problem, where any don't brake type objective would always fail me. I applied a little bit of dead zone to my brake pedal, and that suddenly made the scenarios completable. To close off, I would like to bring up one more observation I've had while playing. The EA Sports WRC transition is getting obnoxious in some situations. When I'm jumping between menus at the end of a stage, The amount of times I have to watch this animation to even get to the service area is way excessive. I don't believe that jumping between end of screen reports requires a loading period to be masked by the transition. So either cut down this animation or cut down the amount of screens I have to jump through. These are just about all the notes I've written down as my first impressions of the game. It's been quite enjoyable, and I look forward to spending many more hours with what might be the definitive rally game for years to come. Still, I hope that EA addresses the technical shortcomings, as in the current state, this is not exactly the most polished game ever. Oh, this is looking sweet.
Starts 50, 3 right.
Oh,
Good
the
luck.
gauge is an... They have an old gauge!
5, 4, 3,
Ah!
1, go. 50.